Hello and welcome to Let Me Bore You to Sleep. My name's Jason Newland and my website is jasonnewland.com, where all my recordings live. Yeah. I also have a Facebook group, Jason Newland's Boring Group, on Facebook. There's a link on my website to there. And also YouTube channel at Jason Newland. So please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. This is boring, or Monday's Boring Objects. Now Vinny is on the floor at the moment, having a little chew. I put some food out for him and he's not touched it, because it's not the food that he likes. You could argue, well, would you eat food you didn't like? It's a fair enough argument. But he used to like it. What, have you never gone off food? Have you liked you've always liked every single food you've ever had? You've never eaten something and then got fed up with it? Right, okay, blimey, calm down. Yeah, there have been things that I've overeaten. There was these biscuits once. Biscuits is going to be the subject today, by the way. Biscuits. I was going to say I'm scraping a barrel, but I'm scraping the biscuit tin for this one. Biscuits. How can I talk for an hour about biscuits? If anyone can do it, I can do it, I suppose. Biscuits. Well, the memory I just had was I used to visit my nan. This is when she was alive. And best time to visit people, I find. And she had these, oh man, they were so nice. They were, because in the early days, before she kind of lost her mobility, she used to be making cakes. Oh, such nice cakes, especially the rock cakes. Bestest rock cakes I've ever had in my life. Still to this day. And they were just perfect. Even if, to be fair, even if they were sometimes a bit burnt, it didn't matter. They were just perfect. They were my Nanny Newland's rock cakes. They were just however they were. I want to say burnt, because sometimes if you leave them in the oven a little bit too long, we know what burnt means. Am I going to have this? Are you going to be argumentative the whole recording? Maybe. Right. Vinny started barking. There was a dog in the distance. Well, somewhere. I mean, what is distance and what is close? I'll tell you, talking about distance and close. I was in the park earlier and I thought I saw a couple of Dobermans running towards me. Off the lead. So I was like, oh. But I got it wrong. Because I didn't have my glasses on. I just forgot to take my glasses with me. And I realised, I looked down, it was just a couple of chihuahuas. Chihuahuas that was actually about 2 inches from my feet. They look exactly like... They look the same as Doberman. Anyway. There's a few unfriendly dog walkers. There's like the friendly ones, and then there's the ones that just almost don't want to interact. Which is up to them, I know, but I've made the effort to be friendly if I can. I don't know. There's just some dog walkers that like they'll kind of pull their dog away from me. Even I understand if it's a dangerous dog, or if it's a dangerous dog, why is it not on a muzzle? Would be my question. But strange. Strange Old World of the Dogging. And so this dog, I don't know, Vinny he wasn't just barking, he was howling like a wolf. You know, his face looking up to the sky. Oh, oh, which he doesn't do very often. So it's very much a kind of a pack call. There's something kind of communication going on there. I would say. But I had to shut him up because the neighbour downstairs is probably asleep. And I don't want him disturbing the neighbours. Especially as tomorrow the building works begins. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, my neighbour opposite has his bathroom. His bathroom's going to be rebuilt. So it's going to be noise, 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 noise. It'll probably be full on for about a week. Well, the rest of this week, Tuesday to Friday. And then it'll reduce a little bit after that. The first bit is I seem to dig up the concrete. I think digging up the bath is a proper, like, shakes the whole building. I'm not going to be able to make a recording when they're here. So I was thinking maybe try and do the recordings today while it's relatively quiet. I mean, I was thinking actually early on I should make the most of it being quiet and relax, maybe watch a couple of movies, you know, just have like a relaxing day where there's not noise, because guaranteed what happens when there's noise in one flat, another neighbour will turn music on to cover up that noise for them, and then another neighbour will turn up to cover up the noise of that music, and before you know it, it's like noisy, really noisy. And it's just human nature to do that. I mean, the most I would do is I put my headphones on so I can kind of block out the noise with my headphones, but it limits me to what I can do. I mean, I could listen to music, or I could watch TV and stuff, watch a movie. I'll probably just take this one out for a few longer nearly said the word, longer journeys tomorrow, innit? So I reckon Tuesday and Wednesday will be the the rest of this week will be the most amount of disruption auditory wise. But then there's a lot of doors slamming, they're coming and going, and you know, so that agitates the old Vinster here. So I guess he'll be doing a bit of barking. So what I'll try and do is when they do get here, what I like to do, if there's builders coming into the building, I try and introduce Vinny to them so that he knows who they are. Once he's met them, he doesn't seem so bothered. But if someone comes in and out of the building continuously and he hasn't seen them, and he doesn't know who they are, it seems to irritate him a bit. Doesn't it, eh? What are you sniffing there for? There's nothing there, trust me. Well, there is, but it's nothing interesting. Wow. Yeah, so my nan got these biscuits. I can't even remember what they were called, but they were super delicious. And she'd make a cup of tea. Like, you know, want to go round, she'd make a cup of tea. Sometimes I'd do it for her, you know. Especially when she lived in a sheltered accommodation, I'd make a cup of tea for her. And I remember the first time I made her a cup of tea, which is going to sound weird, but I think the first time I ever made my nan a cup of tea, I was in my 40s. She always did it, you know, and I remember saying, "Oh, how many sugars, Nan?" 6. She had 6 sugars in her tea. And being British, being English or whatever, I had no choice but to say, "Oh, would you like some tea with your sugar?" Because, you know, all English people say that, and we find it hilarious every time we say it. Yes, we do. Yes, we do, Vinny. Yes. It's like that. Another one is like when someone say "F in hell." I won't say the actual word "F in hell," and the comeback for that, being English, is, "I hope so. There's no TV there." It's, what did I say? I heard a radio DJ the other day moaning about pigeons. Now, if you follow me, you know that I'm a pigeon lover. Horace is one of my best friends, and he's a pigeon. He's been visiting me for 10 years. It's weird, he looks younger now. Oh, but, and he's a different colour. So, but, you know, Horace, I've loved pigeons. I always have done. Even when I was a little kid, going to Trafalgar Square, that was, see, this DJ, this radio presenter, was moaning about, pigeons, and he lives in London, and he was saying it's so good now that the government, or the London mayor at the time, managed to get rid of those people selling, I don't know, pigeon seed to the tourists in order to stop encouraging, because I made it illegal to try and get rid of the pigeons from Trafalgar Square. What did they think Trafalgar Square was famous for around the world? Those big statues? Maybe. The pigeons, yeah, as an experience. The statues don't do anything. They just stand there. And yeah, they mean something. I don't know what they are, but they mean something to people that are into that stuff. Historically, I mean. Is Churchill... I don't even know what statues are in Trafalgar Square, to be honest with you. I know there's a lion. There's a lion, isn't there? A big golden lion. Or silver lion, or something like that. And, I mean, they're impressive, especially when you're a little kid. Like, wow, they're huge. How did they manage to fit them on there? God, whoever lifted that must have been super strong. Perhaps it was Superman. That's what my brothers were saying. I said, nope, it's Wonder Woman, because I was obsessed with Wonder Woman back then. And I just, actually, what do people take pictures of? You can't take a picture of you. I suppose if you're far enough away from the statue, you can get a picture of you with the statue in the background. I guess like the Eiffel Tower and things like that, which is just up the road, I think. I think that's in Leicester Square. But what do people go home with when they've been to, back in those days, in the 70s and the 80s maybe, and probably decades before that, people took photographs of their holiday to London. There would be at least one photograph of them covered in pigeons. That's what Trafalgar Square was famous for. The pigeons. They got rid of it. They got rid of the pigeons. And I can't seem to let it go. It's weird. I didn't realise it affected me so much. I love the pigeons. One of my happiest memories as a child was, apart from being on a Rolf Harris show, which was kind of, that's a whole different, what are you doing? You're attacking me. I'm talking to Vinny there, not Rolf. Hey, stop it. Yeah, I was on a Rolf Harris show. That wasn't a joke. I seriously was on a Rolf Harris show when I was about 9 or 10, and it was one of the best days of my life, genuinely. And I would say there's hundreds, thousands and thousands and thousands of other kids that would also say the same. Maybe not the best day of their life, but it was an amazing experience for most people that did it, because it was just, I loved it. I got to see Keith Harris with Orville and Cuddles, and I got to see Dollar, who were really big at the time as well. They were a group. I can't remember what song they sung. You can do something like that. Anyway, I've talked about that before, but that is just, you know. But one of the experiences I really enjoyed was in a children's home, and it's a little period between moving in with my dad and his new wife, and so it was in Southend. We were going to move in. I don't think we even knew we were going to move in, but we were visiting every weekend to, I guess, for them to get to know us and us to get to know them, and to see whether or not they wanted to, you know, it was a process. It wasn't just like, here's your kids, you haven't seen them for 5 years, take them. There was a process to it. And even then, this was like 1977. So we'd go every weekend, and then one weekend, our auntie picked us up. And she said, oh, you're going to come and stay with me in London because the stepmom's unwell. She's got, I don't know, measles or mumps or something like that. I said, what are you talking about, Willis? Which is weird because I'd never seen different strokes at that point, because it hadn't been on. Didn't come on till about 79. I'm wondering, maybe they copied me, because I used to say that all the time. What are you talking about, Willis? Even when I was like 5. I could be owed some money. Royalties. And she said, my name's not Willis, call me Auntie. I said, I don't know, have I really known you long enough to call you Auntie? How do I know you're really my auntie? You know, you just turn up out of the blue. I've met you a couple of times, admittedly, because, you know, because there was that whole thing, you know, when we went round, it was like, I felt like I was in a zoo. When we went to visit my dad, he came and picked us up, took us back to where he lived with his wife and his wife's mum. They lived in her house. And all these people came along, like, and there was uncles and aunts and people I'd never seen before. Like, I'm your uncle. Really? I'm your uncle as well. Really? I'm your auntie. Really? Like, you know, it's like, I'm your uncle. Oh, okay. And I'm also your auntie. Really? I'm your cousin. Huh? So like 10 cousins. 5 uncles and aunts, 10 cousins. Nanny and granddad, and then another nanny. Like, way too many people. So I didn't remember her. But that weekend was one of the best weekends ever. So she picked us up, took us to London. London's not far from Southend. It seemed a long way when you were a little kid. To be fair, I don't even know if we was in a car. We might have gone on a train, because there was a train directly to Liverpool Street from Southend, Victoria. I made the journey many times as an adult. Yeah, I used to visit Southend. Southend used to be a place that I would go to when I fancied a day out. Like a kind of, I think I took 2 different girlfriends there, I went on 2 different dates, maybe more, to Southend when I was living in London. And just like, let's go for a walk. Let's go for a walk. Let's go to Southend. Get on a train. It's like 45 minutes or whatever on a train. Maybe an hour. I don't know. And then would be there. Southend Beach, have a nice walk, go onto the pier. That's a journey in itself, just to walk along the pier. Candy floss, fish and chips. Maybe not candy floss. Well, I suppose they did have candy floss. Ice creams. Just anything you want, really. It's just like anywhere else. And it was a nice day out. Wasn't far away, but it was totally different from being in London. You know, being near the sea. I mean, Southend's not the nearest sea if you're in London. I think there's closer sea. I think Harwich is closer. I'm not sure. But you've got Billericay. I don't know if that's the Isle of Dogs. I suppose there's a sea there, maybe. I wonder where there's a sea. I mean, you've got the Thames, which leads to the sea. I don't know. So the Southend, that's where I used to go. But to this day in London, it was lovely, lovely, lovely. I just remembered. Went to Southend with a Spanish female that I met at, was it Stratford train station. I saw her and I thought I'd like to talk to her, so I went up to her. I just said, "Excuse me, sorry, could you tell me?" Could you tell me? And I asked her a question that I knew the answer to. Because I just wanted to talk to her, and I ended up. She gave me a telephone number, a name, and her address. She wrote it down on a piece of paper. Or did she have it already written down? Was she just randomly giving it out to men? Possibly. Anyway, so we went out, we talked on the phone a few days in a row, and then I kind of fell for her, really. I just really liked her a lot. And we went out to Southend for the day. And there was a couple of, because you know when you're abroad, you can hear your own language being spoken, can't you? Like, it's just one of those things. I remember when I was in Belgium, we were walking down the street in Belgium, and I was with like 3 or 4 people from work. This is when I was about 18. And we were walking down this busy road, and suddenly one of my work colleagues shouted out, "English! You're English!" over this crowd. And there was another little group of men, and they said, "English! You're English!" Got so excited to meet another English speaking person. I mean, we'd only been there for about 10 minutes. I mean, how much can you miss? I mean, the fact that he was with 4 other people that also spoke English, why would he miss being around English-speaking people so much? I just didn't understand it. Couldn't really get it, but it was funny because they were jumping up and down, hugging each other. It was very erotic. It was kind of strange. So anyway, we were walking, me and this, what was her name? Marta. We're walking down we walked on the pier, and suddenly she noticed a couple of Spanish men, and they noticed her, and they started talking in, I couldn't really understand what they were saying. It was some kind of language, different language to English. And even though it's in a different language, I knew what they were saying. It was weird. And I asked her, and she said, yeah, I was right. So what I could see, and it was, they were not speaking English. And were basically mocking me. And they said to her, oh, is that your boyfriend? And she said, no. But it wasn't like, no, like that, yeah? Bearing in mind that we kind of were dating-ish, kind of. And I knew, even in another language, it's the same energy, it's the same looks, it's the same, it was the same tone of voice. And yeah, it was a bit awkward after that. Yeah. I don't know if that was before or after I visited her at her home, because she invited me around. Yeah, I think it was before. She invited me around to her place because she was a nanny or an au pair. She had a night. No, she was an au pair, and so she was 19. I was 23, and she had she was Spanish, and so she had dark hair and brown eyes, but I'm guessing the majority of people in Spain have probably got dark hair and brown eyes, because that's the Spanish look, isn't it? Did you know that most people in the world have got brown eyes? Blue eyes is an anomaly. Did you know that? I just thought that blue eyes, because I got blue eyes, I just thought it's just most people would have blue eyes, but they haven't, apparently. Not everyone looks like me. I don't understand. So, I really liked her. I really fancied her. But I really liked her. I got on well with her on the phone, even though there was communication. Her English was really good, but my Spanish was zero. She taught me a few words. Sí, señor. A cappella, I think that's Spanish, isn't it? Was it? L. Yeah, if you say L before any sentence, I think that helps. L hello. No, not L honcho. No. Hello. What's the... Oh, I know the word for hello in Spain. Hello. Hello. Hello, I don't know. I've never been great with languages. I learned a few words in Thai. I learned a few words in Bulgaria, but that was just because I was talking to females at the time that I wanted to, I guess, communicate. I found at a very early age, probably with the Spanish lady, that sometimes having a different language can be useful for communication, or useful for like the beginning of a relationship, because learning each other's words. And I also figured out after years and years and years, the reason I got on so well with foreign women is because it took them longer to realise what I was really like. They thought I was nice for much longer than people that had met me that knew what I was saying. Once they realised what I was saying, they didn't necessarily like me so much. I'm joking. Kind of. I did upset someone in Thailand a waitress. Didn't mean to. Genuinely did not mean to. It turned out I was trying to communicate with her. Well, she was trying to communicate with me. And I was getting it wrong. So there was all these posters around for this, like some kind of swimwear, bikini beauty contest, a bikini pageant. There was posters all over this place. It was just a bar. It was like a normal bar, restaurant. So Hooters, but it was still, they have food and stuff. And I like it. I've never been into I like American bars, and that was just like an opportunity to go there every day. And there wasn't anything weird. It's just a normal, it was a family place. You could take your kids and stuff. I didn't have any kids to take, but if I had, well, I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, it's not a holiday, is it? If you've got kids with you, how is that a holiday? A holiday is when the kids are the other side of the world. Surely, maybe not. Maybe I got it wrong. I used to know someone who said, if the idea of it's not a decent holiday if it's not a proper holiday if when you get home, it's only a proper holiday if you get home and you need a holiday. So if you completely exhaust yourself, then it's a proper holiday you've had. It's like, no, that's the opposite to what I'm thinking of. Because you like to go skiing and windsurfing and probably mountain climbing and potholing and deep sea diving, swimming with sharks, all the things that I wouldn't want to do. And it's got nothing to do with lack of fitness, because I'm not as fit as I used to be. I think my mountain climbing days are possibly behind me, but they were never in front of me either. I've never wanted to jump out of a plane. I've never wanted to go down a pothole and not a pothole. Is it potholing? I didn't want to go down, like, find a crack in the earth and let's see where this leads. No. It's like, no, that's just, I'm not interested in that. Oh, let's go down to the bottom of the ocean. No, I never wanted to do that. That's a deal breaker. I used to be in love with this female that really, really, really liked her a lot. She didn't really know I existed, but I really liked her. And I got talking to her. I finally managed to sort of build up the courage to say hello. And this is when I was a prison guard in a women's prison. So eventually, no, this is so. I don't know. I got talking. I think it was like, "What you doing?" You're right. She said, "Oh, I think I said see you next week." "Oh, I'm on holiday next week." "Oh, okay. Normally, if someone told me they're on holiday next week, I say, "Oh, like, why are you telling me? What use is that information? How's that gonna benefit me knowing you're on holiday next week?" Which could be a bit attitudinal. I gotta work on that maybe. When I was younger, that is, That's when I was like 5 or 6. Stinking thinking I did when I was 5 or 6, just like, yeah. Christmas. "Look, Jason, look what your brother's bought me for Christmas. It's like, I never heard the rest of it because I switched off. It's like, what do I care what he's bought for you for Christmas? I don't even care what I bought you. I don't care about what I bought you for Christmas. I'm only interested in what I get for Christmas. Christmas is about receiving, not giving. And any kid that says the opposite is lying. It's about receiving presents. How many kids do you think go to sleep Christmas Eve and they can't get, like, Mum, I can't get to sleep. I can't get to sleep. And their parents going, what is it, little JJ? I can't get to sleep, Daddy and Mama. Dada and Mama. Why is it? Why can't you get to sleep? Is it because Father Christmas? And yeah, is it because of Christmas morning tomorrow? Yeah, it is. He said, well, what is it that's keeping you awake? He said, I just can't, I can't sleep because I'm so worried and excited about whether or not you'll like the presents I bought you for Christmas. That conversation's never happened, not once. I guarantee you that. But I just want you to be happy. Like any kid cares. What they want is to be happy. Oh, my big toe on my right foot just seized up. Thankfully, I don't need to use it very often, so it's okay. Oh, that was weird. I stretched it. Doesn't normally get any stretching. I'm only joking, by the way, when I say things. It wasn't really, it didn't really like get stiff. I got one of my legs seizes up sometimes, the calf muscle, and it changes my mood. I remember I was on a date with someone, and I was in here, and it was going quite well. Well, she hadn't left, so I always take that as a positive sign. And I'd been sitting down, so I just stood up and stretched my legs. So I don't know, we kind of probably got onto my toes, and my left calf cramped up. And she was like, "Are you okay?" Like, "Get off me!" I wasn't quite that bad, but it was like, oh, that was not pleasant. She said, "Do you want me to massage?" I said, "No." Oh. And she did. I said, "Oh, okay." So that helped. She said, "Is that better?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, "I just got to go and get something." Like, I've cramped up again. What? Your calf again? No, it's my groin. No, I made that up. So the pigeons, I just like the pigeons. What's this got to do with biscuits? I've got to talk about biscuits. But I can't even remember where I was going with that. I don't know if I was going anywhere really. But I remember her, she was nice. That was 94 time. She was so lovely, I forgot I had a girlfriend. No, I didn't forget. So yeah, these biscuits that my nan had, they were lovely, and I'd have them every single time I visited her. I can't remember the name of them, but they're really nice. They're nice with or without tea. I mean, you can dip them or not dip them. Never a double dip. One dip's enough. Otherwise it would break. And I don't know what it is. Once a biscuit's broken into the tea, I mean, some do float on the top, but some don't. Some will just sink down to the bottom. And it's almost, I feel like the tea is contaminated. I don't want to drink the tea anymore. Unless I get a spoon and I get the biscuit out. But the weird thing about it, even though I feel like the tea's contaminated, I don't want to drink the tea. When I get the biscuit out of a spoon, I want to eat the biscuit. It's weird, isn't it? It's like, I don't want to drink that water from that from that river because it's waste at the bottom, and then getting the waste out and just munching on it. I'm like, no, weird. Other biscuits. I think my favourite biscuits are probably plain old digestives. McVitie's digestives. And I like rich tea as well. They're the two best biscuits for dipping into tea, I think, in my opinion. The thing is, you've got to really... I mean, that's why we're trained in... I don't know, if you're not in England, you might not know this, but in England, we actually have classes at school for biscuit dipping. And it's called biscuit dipping. That's just the class, it's called biscuit dipping. What are you doing? Where you got to go? I've got maths. Oh, where are you? Biscuit dipping. Okay, just give you an example. And you might think, you might be in a country and say, what do you mean maths? Don't you need math? No, maths, that's the correct way. It's not mathematic, it's mathematics. Maths is short for mathematics, not mathematic. There's no such thing as mathematic, it's mathematics. I'm just, it's all about helping, isn't it? And so we have these classes at school. It's in every year, right the way from like infant school all the way up to high school. By the time you get to leave school at like 16, maybe 18, depending on when you leave, you almost become a master of biscuit dipping. It's not just tea, you have to learn coffee. The problem with coffee is it tends to hold the heat a little bit longer, unless you put lots of milk in. Tea tends to calm down. We become experts on tea and coffee as well. The temperatures, how to make a cup of tea. See, the problem is though, there's a little bit, it's become a little bit like a religion, tea making in this country. So, you've got kind of the Catholics, the Protestants, the different Anglican churches, the different kinds of Christianity-ish stuff. It's a little bit like that with tea making. So there's people that put the milk in before the hot water, and those are people who put the milk in after the hot water. So it's very much a controversial thing. Once a year, people go on rallies and they all dress up as biscuits. It's just very, very, very strange. And for some reason, they decided to take the rich tea and digestive. They've kind of taken those two, even though it's not really about biscuits. Not really. But, they've kind of taken on, because milk, they have the white, like the what's it called, the rich tea, because they're kind of much paler than a digestive biscuit. So they're the ones that like the milk in first. Digestives are now classed as the ones that like the milk in afterwards. So I'm a digestive because, you put the water in. For me, I put the water in with a tea bag and then add the milk. So it's just... But some people do, some like, oh, you can't put the milk in first because the hot water scorches the milk. I've never heard milk scream once. Oh, stop it. It's never. So I don't know where they come up with that stuff. I don't even know, would people even notice if you did a blind test and you gave someone a cup of tea? Because I've made cups of tea with people and I've never once had them say, wait a minute, did you put the milk in first? Or the opposite, Plus, I like to do whatever I like to do the opposite to what people say. When I was younger, not now, but when I was younger. So if someone said, oh, make sure you put the milk in before the tea bag and the hot water, I would do the opposite. And they never knew. They couldn't tell the difference. So there was one time though, I did it, I gave them the wrong cup. So I ended up with the one with the milk in before the tea bag. It was disgusting. I was so angry. And I didn't know at the time, but once I realised, it tasted the same at the time, but once I realised it tasted horrible. It was a week later, but... Dear Jason, these boring Mondays, I used to like them because you'd focus on a subject, but you seem to have lost your way a little bit. The recent one where you talked about biscuits and scorched milk and a Spanish girlfriend and tea making classes, biscuit dipping, it just seems to have gone in a weird direction. Please can you talk about tyres next week? It's okay. I don't know. I'm still not an expert though at biscuit dipping. Occasionally, if I'm distracted, okay. So let's I remember there was I had this part-time job. No, I was in a bank, and I think I was trying to get a loan or something, and they gave me a cup of tea, and it had biscuit. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is good. So I'm there at one of those tables opposite the bank. It wasn't the bank manager, but someone that worked in a bank. And then there was the big counter over the other side, and there's a few other tables dotted around. So I'm just having a cup of tea, and the bank gets robbed. So these bank robbers come in and shouted and stuff. So that distracted me, because I was trying to dip my biscuit in, but I left it in too long, and it broke. Now that nearly ruined my day. And all I can remember is them shouting, "Get down on the floor, get down on the floor. Don't look at us, don't... stop. Stop dunking your biscuit in your tea." I was like, what else am I supposed to do? Because as an English person, there's a saying in England, once you start dipping, that's it. So once you start to dip a biscuit in your tea, that's what you're going to do. Because the whole process starts with the thought of dipping the biscuit in the cup of tea. It's not just like, we don't do it any old how. You know, especially if you've been trained from like the age of 2 how to dip biscuits in tea, because you've been trained at school like we are. And by the way, if you ever get into if you're in another country and you want to, you know, show off your knowledge of other countries, this is something you could tell people. They'll be fascinated and impressed, probably. In fact, they may, if it's a crowd of people, they may actually lift you above their shoulders and parade you around the streets, singing your name loudly. So it's possible. Anything's possible, I suppose. And once you have the idea, I want to dip a biscuit in the tea. And it wasn't there to start with, but, you know, I had the cup of tea and I thought, I wish I had some biscuits. That's another thing. Normally, English people carry around biscuits and we keep them in our socks. And before we say, oh, that's grim. No, they're in a packet. You know, they're not you know, and it's not the whole big, massive, long packet of biscuits. These are smaller packets, so you might get maybe 3 biscuits or 2 biscuits maybe. So they fit inside the socks quite easily. And so generally, every English person would have at least 1 packet of biscuits in their socks. Now it depends how long you're going to be out for. If you're just popping around a neighbour's house, then you just like one packet of biscuits in your socks is normally enough. And it depends, because generally, if you go around a neighbour's house, the rule is in this country, if you visit a neighbour or friend or family, whoever it is, the visitor gets, the host, let's say the person who owns the place, so the visitor gets given biscuits and gets to choose what biscuits they want. So this is an English thing. This happened here for centuries, I think. And so basically what happens, just in case you didn't know this, in every English home, if you go into the front door, every English home has a room full of biscuits. Every single type of biscuits. And you could say, well, not all biscuits can be dunked. They can. That's the thing. If you're not trained, like we are, you might struggle to dip a soggy biscuit into a tea. It might not work for you. But even something like a Jaffa cake, there's an art to doing a Jaffa cake and not leaving any chocolate in the tea. Or you can do it where you just leave a little love heart on the top of the tea. See, there's so much art connected to this. It's hard to explain. I realise this might be new to you. You might not have known this about English people, but I started to think about this, because I might be the only English person you ever listen to, as far as a podcaster, or you may not know any English people, and your English, your knowledge of England might come from television or from movies, and of course some of that's true, but things like Downton Abbey, that's not real. I mean, it's real, but I mean, there are people that used to live like that, but it's not the general thing. What I'm telling you is what everybody does. So it's worth knowing that before you come here, and you can sound very, very knowledgeable when you tell people about this stuff. When you tell your friends and family, maybe over Christmas dinner, it's like, did you know that in England, every home has a room specifically for biscuits? See, they wouldn't know that until you told them. So I guess maybe I can tell you some other stuff about England another time. This is just going to be the first. I did a weird noise there. Did you hear that? This is a... So yeah, the little piggy in my throat. So, in the biscuit, it's called the Bicky room. Okay, that I should tell you that. We don't call them biscuits here, we call them bickies. That's genuine. It's just short for biscuits. Bicky. Got time for a cuppa? Cup of tea's cuppa. Got time for a cuppa and a bicky. So that's 2 different things. Have you got time for a cuppa? Sometimes that just means, well, you just have a quick cup of tea, drink it and leave. But if someone says, have you got time for a cuppa and a bicky? what that means is they like you and they'd like to spend more time with you and get to know you better. It's kind of like an English chat up a chat up line in a way, but it's very subtle. So if you're, I mean, it happens quite, if you literally, someone says to you, "Would you like a," if you're in a coffee place in the UK or in England and you order a coffee and they say, "Would you like some biscuits?" That means 100% that they're in love with you. So it's worth, this is information worth knowing, that they're basically letting you know that they love you. And that's it really. I think it's quite handy to have this knowledge. But if someone invites you round or you visit, by the way, if you visit, if they don't invite you and you just visit, then you don't get to choose what biscuits you want. They get to choose. But if they invite you, you get to choose. In fact, you don't even get an opportunity to go into the biscuit room, or we call it the bicky room, but you don't get a chance to go into the biscuit room because you've not been invited. You've just made up your mind to knock on their door and go in, or wait till they answer the door, of course. In that situation, they can give you the horriblest biscuits that they want. They still have to give you biscuits. It's the law. But they don't have to give you the nice ones. They can give you because we have a thing here. This is gonna shock you. Oh, it's going to be hard for me to say this out loud. I'm a little bit embarrassed by it, but Vinny's having a dream. He's dreaming about biscuits. So we have this thing in this country. We have supermarkets. That's not the shocking part. We have supermarkets and they sell biscuits. Again, that's not the shocking part. The shocking part is there are, amongst the many, many types of biscuits, a thing, I'm just saying this out loud. Again, this is quite a secret. We're not supposed to share this. But hey, I suppose I've just broken all the rules. We have a thing here called home brand. And so if you're in Sainsbury's supermarket, Sainsbury's home brand biscuits, and they're still called them the same, like digestives or rich tea, but they're not really digestives and they're not really rich tea. And some would argue, people with no sense of taste, no taste buds, will argue it tastes the same. It doesn't taste the same. Just in the same way Domino's and Pizza Go-Go do not taste the same. Pizza Hut and Domino's don't. It's different things. They just taste different. Just because the word pizza's in it doesn't mean it's all going to taste the same. I go on to talk about food. It makes me think it might be my tummy saying, "Feed me a biscuit." So yeah, what some people do, and it's you don't have to, okay, but you have your right as an English citizen to provide, instead of providing the decent biscuits, you provide the home brand biscuits for the cup of tea. And also, you don't have to provide endless biscuits. When I say endless, I mean they're all the same. There's no like massive biscuits, but although the wagon wheel used to be quite big, is it a biscuit? Is it like a chocolate? Because it is chocolate, but it has marshmallow inside, but also had biscuit. It's kind of a weird one. And it's too big to fit into a cup. to dunk it. So it's one of those weird things where you have to cut it in half first, or in quarters, depending on how much you want to put in your mouth. And that was, I think I probably spent about 3 months of school just learning how to do a wagon wheel, how to dip one of them without ruining everything, because they drip, really drip. That's the thing. That's why we have you only got a cup and saucer. We don't really use saucers so much indoors, but that's what saucers were for, was collecting the remnants of the biscuit, of the tea dripping off the biscuit, and any kind of chocolate or biscuity bits could like just be kept in there, so it didn't go onto the table or drip onto your trousers. But yeah, generally, I think it's quite nice to have something different from other people, because I know that in Japan, I think they have the tea ceremony, but it's very different. I've done a tea ceremony in the Buddhist centre, and it's very slow. It's not something to be done when you're thirsty. That's all I'm saying. The tea ceremony isn't really about the tea. It's about mindfulness. It's about noticing every move that you make, every physical movement, it's very slow, and it's nice, very calming, but it's not really a social activity, I would argue. I'm trying to think what other biscuits I liked. I used to have this little routine, I'm going to say ritual, back in 1988. 88? Yeah, 88. And I used to I used to come home from work. I think this is when I was working at the co-op. On a Friday evening, I would watch Roseanne and Cheers. So between 9 and 10, I couldn't tell you which one was on first, Roseanne or Cheers, I don't know. But they'd both be on, and what I would do is I would have a can of Coke and a packet of biscuits, and I would just eat the whole lot. Maybe even 2 packs of biscuits, but I think it was 1 pack of biscuits. It was either fig rolls, maybe it was 2 packs actually, but ginger nuts probably. And then I would just feel bloated and like, ugh, too much. But then, when I was at the co-op, I definitely went for a bit of a biscuit period. That gives a different, weird visual, doesn't it? A biscuit period. At lunchtime, not lunchtime, at break time, the first break of the day, when I worked in a co-op, which was a supermarket thing. It wasn't a big supermarket that I worked in. And like 2 tills, that was it, really, I think. Or 3 tills? Something like that. 4 tills. I think 2 tills on the main till, and then there's a couple of other little tills when it was busy. Anyway, I went and I had this little routine when I would have my break. I'd buy a can of Coke, and I would buy some fig rolls. They were not home brand fig rolls because they were for me. They weren't for a visitor that had not let me know. An unwanted visitor, that's the one that would get the home brand fig rolls. These were nice fig rolls. And there's nothing wrong with home brand biscuits, for other people. But, I've been raised to be a biscuit snob. That's how it is. So, it's not my fault. It's like, you wouldn't blame me if I had a religious belief, if I was brought up to have that belief, no matter how silly it might seem to everyone else. You can't blame me because I've been raised to believe that. I don't know any different, and it's almost impossible to believe anything different, in a way. It's just like, that's all I know. And that's what I, it's very hard to get someone out of that. And it's the same with biscuits. Biscuits are very much like religion, don't you know? So I used to have these fig rolls, but they weren't, because there's different types of fig rolls you can get. You can get the ones that are like a roll, like literally they look a little bit like a sausage roll, really, like a really small sausage roll. These ones weren't them. They were more fancy and a little bit bigger and like rolled over pastry. It was different. It tasted much nicer. And I think there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, probably about 6 in a pack. And I'd eat the whole lot with my can of Coke. 15-minute break. And that was what I would do that, listen to the radio in the staff room. The staff room was like big enough for 2 people sitting at a table and probably a coat rack, or that's it. There wasn't a lot of room in there. And I did that for months, just a nice, lovely fig rolls, nice can of Coke. Yeah, it was nice. I like that. It's weird though, because I close my eyes and I can still see inside that shop. Now, I have been inside the shop over the years, because I've visited that town many times, hundreds of times since I left school, since I left the town. So I've been back loads of times. It's a long time since I went into that shop. It's many, many years. So it might have changed, but I just remember how it used to be. So you'd go in, you'd look at the shop, and it was next to a... If you was facing it, let's say if you walked out of the front door of the Co-op shop, supermarket, and just walked backwards, not a good idea. You might bang into something, but it was quite a big pavement. And you stopped and you opened your eyes. I mean, again, why would you close your eyes if you were walking backwards? But why would you walk backwards? Would it make any difference if you had your eyes open? Because you can't see behind yourself, can you? Unless you're a pigeon. So that's what I admire about pigeons, because they can see pretty much everywhere. They're omnipotent. Nippleless. And to the left there was this Chinese takeaway, and that was it. That was all there was on that little bit of road. So you go into the supermarket, and on the right hand side there was the bit where the lorries would go in to deliver. So you go into the entrance. It was like a double door. Left hand side was the counter, all the way up on the left hand side. So it was cigarettes, booze, all that stuff. Yeah, I think there might have been 2 tills. Yeah. And I think there was a conveyor belt as well on there. Why would... Ooh. There isn't now, but I think there might have been back then. Maybe. Anyway, so there was that. And then you go in, turn right, there's one lane that goes down. Then turn left, there's another lane. And turn right and then turn left, and that leads you to the thing. So there's a few lanes. Again, it's not a large store. There's freezer stuff at the bottom. I did like the smell of the place. It's quite a nice smell, there's lots of groceries and bread and vegetables and and that you could feed your tortoise. Stop it! I think I just heard a fly. What other thing? I suppose just different, yeah, dairy products. The fridges were there, so I guess the smell of the fridges, and it was just a nice, general, nice, quite nice smell. I think supermarkets do smell quite nice. Actually, it's all like a mixture of different things. What I wasn't so keen on was the brown jacket I had to wear, because first of all it was too tight, and I was tiny back then. You know, I was like 9 stone or something. It was like really, really slim. And wow, I'm like 6 stone heavier. Used to be 7 stone heavier, but I lost this. I lost this some weight. I did, and kept it off as well, which is pretty cool. Oh, yeah, I didn't like it. And it smelt weird. Just smelt weird. It just had a weird smell, and I thought, I don't want to smell weird. I'm only 17. I just, I was hoping to one day get to hold someone's hand, you know, have romance. I didn't want to be walking around smelly. I don't know what it was. I think someone else had worn it before me. I took it home, I washed it. Still had a weird kind of smell, and eventually I was able to get a bigger one. So I'd much rather have something that looks too big on me than something that looks too small on me. Plus it was, yeah, it was uncomfortable or uncomfortable. But then they did used to employ kids, like in the evenings, like part-time staff from school at the weekends and stuff. So I think they had little sizes for the kids. I just happened to be kid size even at 17. Yeah, that was, yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that, but it was once I got a, yeah, I got a bigger one, but it was too long for me, so I had to roll the sleeves up. I don't know, what can you do? It's like it. Okay, I need. So I've got a cardigan that I need to be bigger because of my body, but I don't have long arms, so it kind of covers half my hands, but the shoulders and the upper body feels it. You know, it's just weird. Just what those is it pterodactyl, pterodactyl. You know, the ones with little hands. Kangaroos, that's another one, isn't it? Little arms and bigger body. Maybe that's me. Not quite that bad, but I don't have really. Yeah, I don't have long arms. I don't have like really short arms, but they're not long. They're not long enough to fit my body, basically. My height is not. My legs are not long enough to fit my body either. I'm 5'8". My ideal weight should be like 11.5 stone. Um, and I'm not that. I'm nor 11.5 stone. So even if I was 12.5 or 13, then it's still, that's overweight apparently. So my weight for my height is ridiculous. You know, I should be like 7 foot tall for my height. For my height, for my weight, I should probably be about 6'2", 6'3", 6'5", 6'4". To be my weight, I should be, yeah, about 6'5", maybe 6'3". I could get away with it at 6'3", 6'2". you know, well set, heavy, but quite tall. I could do that, but I'm not. I'm stumpy and like a. I wouldn't look at a place on the new Snow White movie. I don't mean taking her place. Do you reckon she'll ever have another acting job after that? I watched a bit of Snow White, the new one, and I tell you, it's weird, right? Just leave her alone. That's my opinion. It's weird. It's just they really, really went for her because she was just talking like a teenager. She's a teenager, or maybe she's in her early 20s. I don't know. But she was just talking the way that she talked. She was just being herself, and it really, really went for her. It's like, leave her alone. And I didn't think of that in a sense of like a father figure, because I don't feel like a father figure towards a young woman. Just from a human perspective, leave her alone. It's Snow White. Don't mess with Snow White. Show some respect for the snowy one. Do you ever think that Snow White, did she have, who was it had blonde hair in the Disney movies? Because you'd think Snow White would have blonde hair. I don't know why. Like, just blonde. I don't know, snow maybe, because snow's white. Who had blonde hair? Goldilocks? I suppose that makes sense, wouldn't it? Goldilocks. But then she'd have golden hair, not white hair. Or blonde hair, rather. Who else is there? Sleeping Beauty. It's a Goldilocks, Sleeping Beauty, Rapunzel. Sure, Rapunzel, I don't know what colour hair she had. She had long hair, didn't she, Rapunzel? Ah. Still one of my favourite is the Let It Go, Let It Go, do 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 do, let it go, let it go, do 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 do, do 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 do, do 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 do, do 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 do. The cold doesn't bother me anyway. That's the only, the Let It Go and the cold doesn't bother me anyway is the only bits I remember. I like that movie. Yeah, I did. And what is it? Is it the Snowman? He's good in that as well. Yeah. That's got to be the first role that he ever had where people weren't judging on his appearance. Blimey, leave the man alone. He can't, like, he's either overweight or like they moan at him, you've lost a lot of weight. Are you okay? Like, leave him alone. He's a funny actor. I'm very in a supporting actors kind of mood at the moment. Oh yes. Did you know that it's not really related to biscuits, but Canelo fight against Crawford, which is on in September, I think, it's going to be on Netflix. So I signed up to Netflix because it's going to be free. Well, it's not really free, but it's going to be streamed, not pay-per-view. One of the biggest fights, I would say, of the year, personally. The most exciting fights of the year for boxing fans. Crawford and Canelo. It's a great fight. It would have been... Yeah. I mean... as far as exciting fights go, boxing-wise, I mean, you've got the World Heavyweight Championship with Usyk and Dubois, but they've already fought before. So although it's exciting, and it's July the 19th, and I'm going to be watching it 1000%, hopefully, and I'm looking forward to it. But they have fought before, and Canelo and Usyk beat him. So that doesn't have the same excitement as Crawford Canelo, because they've never fought before, and they're both broken records in their own way. I mean, there's no active boxer around today that can match Canelo's boxing record, his professional record. Not about how many wins he's had, just how many names he's fought, how many big names he's actually conquered. Whether he beat them or not, actually, he just fought so many people and won so many titles. But Crawford has unified two different divisions. He's the freeweight world champion and he's unified three divisions, I think. Or he's unified two divisions and won 3 world titles. And he's won 3. I think he's won world titles in 3 divisions, 3 weight classes. He's unified in 2 weight classes, and if he's fighting Canelo, who holds all the belts in super middleweight. So if he wins that, he'll be the first boxer in history to be unified in 3 different weight divisions. Now Canelo is already regardless of what anyone says, one of the greatest boxers of our generation for what he's accomplished. Just what he's done is just phenomenal. And he's potentially on the slide, but even on the slide he's still beating everyone. So they say, he's on the slide because he's getting old now. He's, 33 or 34, 35 maybe now. He's been boxing since he was 15, I think. Like professionally, I mean. He's been a professional fighter for 20 years. He's won so many world titles. I don't know if anyone else has won as many titles as him, as many divisions as him. Maybe Pacquiao. Mayweather and Pacquiao. I think Pacquiao had 7 different divisions, 7 different weight divisions, and I almost believed that this was just like fake news. Pacquiao is actually coming back after years of professional boxing, years of like proper, fighting big names and whatever, and he's fighting for a world title. No warm-up fights. He's fighting straight away for a world title. And I will watch it, but I do wonder, he's not the first one to do that, but he's been out of the ring for quite a long time. When Sugar Ray Leonard came back to beat Marvin Hagler, he'd been out of the ring for a good couple of years or so. But I think Manny's been out of the ring for 5 or 6 years. He's had a couple of exhibition fights. Maybe they went on his record as being professional fights, but he hasn't fought any boxers. I think he fought like a kickboxer, but in a ring I think it was a kickboxing world champion, but it's still, or Muay Thai or something. And there was one fight he had when he just kept knocking a bloke down. So he's had a few fights like that over the years. But professionally, I don't think he's fought for at least 6 years, maybe longer, as an actual contender in the world boxing scene. And he goes straight into fighting for a world title. And he's about 44 now, I think. or 45, or older maybe even, I don't know. Getting on to 50, I think. Maybe, yeah, I think he's getting on. No, he can't be getting on to 50, can he? He's in his 40s, early 40s, I think. But then that makes me think, like, I hear people going on about, I can hear people going, what's this got to do with boxing? You've always got to go back to boxing, haven't you? What about the biscuits? We were really interested in the biscuits, and now you're talking about boxing again. I'll be honest with you, I think I've run out of biscuit stories. I didn't think I'd ever say that out loud. As a sentence I never thought I'd come out of my mouth. Some of these heavyweights, the people talking about heavyweights on the internet, they're going, Dillian Whyte, he's 38 years old now. He's got Moses Atuma's going to be fighting him in September, and he doesn't stand a chance against him because he's 20 years old, and Dillian Whyte is 38, doesn't stand a hope against the young man. And then has everyone forgotten George Foreman? He didn't come back until he was about 38, and he won the world title at 44. Or 45, 44, 45. He fought for the world title twice before that, and against Tommy Morrison and Evander Holyfield, and eventually he did win it. So he had to fight to get it. He doesn't just handed it. He had to have loads of 20 odd fights before he got a chance to fight for the world title the second time round. And they're writing people off who are less than 40. It's just, I don't know, they seem to have forgotten. And then you've got Derek Chisora, who's a handful for anyone. It was really weird. It's like Derek Chisora, I can't say his name today. Derek Chisora, he's been winning quite a few fights lately, and he's really good. He's exciting to watch. And he's nearing 40 now. He fought, and Dillian Whyte, that he's not been very active, but he's had a great career. Tyson Fury, who some people say, he's not any good, not really. Tyson Fury made both of those boxers look awful. I mean, really, he made them both look awful. It looked effortless for him. Isn't it weird? It doesn't seem to matter, no matter what you do, like the boxers, no matter how successful you are, the minute you lose, like, oh no, he's no good. It's like, okay, who did he lose to? He lost to Usyk, who will possibly go down as being one of the greatest heavyweights ever. One of the greatest heavyweights, definitely of this era, this generation, the last 20 years, I'd say, because of what he's achieved. Unbeaten at the moment. Yeah, I don't know. Can't we just get along? That's all I'm saying. Let's just all have a cup of tea and some biscuits. So, I don't know. That was a weird recording. I'm going to go. Thank you for listening, and remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself, because you deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye.